Good morning to you. Well, I've been absent for a few days. I've been away, and sometimes one just has to have that time when you get away from the situations that you're in, from the familiarity, from all the pressures of life. And sometimes you feel that it's really necessary, isn't it, to get away when you are starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed, and you just want to get that time out. And yet in front of you, there's a list of things that you have to do. And I've been feeling very much that way, actually, the last few days for a while. And you know that there are things you have to do and things you have to attend to. But you sometimes just want to just leave it all behind and go. It reminds me in a way of a film. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's with the actor Michael Douglas. And I just simply can't remember it. But all I can remember is that he was in the middle of a traffic jam. This was how the film starts. And he just decided he had enough. And he got out of his car in the middle of the traffic jam and he just left it there. Obviously, not the most sensible thing to do, one would say. But that was how the thing started. And one can sometimes feel that pressure gets to you and you just need to get out of the traffic jam. I was thinking of it this morning in terms of a flood. And I just want to share with you here the scripture in Genesis 7. And it's quite an interesting scripture because it ties up with another one that the Lord gave me this morning. And then I found myself thinking back to this particular one. And it forms a good foundation for what I want to share. And it's Noah and the flood, Genesis 7. And as it says here, they went into the ark. And then verse 17. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth. And the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, and all that was in the dry land died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. And it's that word, isn't it, there? The waters prevailed. Do the waters prevail in our lives sometimes? And we're not in the ark. We're sometimes finding ourselves, perhaps we've opened the door. Perhaps we've allowed something to get into the ark of our lives. And the waters start to prevail. They start to flood our lives. We start to feel the pinch. And this morning I started with Psalm 93. And I didn't know I was going to get to Genesis. So I'll just share with you Psalm 93. And it's quite interesting how you see the tie-up here. The Lord reigneth. He is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed with strength, wherewith he hath girded himself. The world also is established, that it cannot be moved. The throne is established of old. Thou art from everlasting. And here in verse 3, the floods have lifted up, O Lord. The floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their waves. And a further key verse here. The Lord on high is mightier than the noise of many waters, yea, than the mighty waves of the sea. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thine house, O Lord, forever. Holiness, to be set apart. And what the Lord is saying here too is to be set apart from the waves, to be set apart from the floods. The Lord is higher than the flood. The flood covered the earth, the waters prevailed over Noah. But yet above the firmament, above the heavens, was the Lord sitting in his third heaven, above all the tumult that was going on below. And God knew when he was going to bring the flood upon the earth that it would be a complete destruction. And we know too that when we feel overwhelmed, when we feel flooded, it's the enemy that wants to come in and destroy our lives, cause us to lose our peace, to lose that preciousness of strength that God has given us as we reside in him, as we abide in him. So let's remember, when so much has to be done, when so many things are going on around us, when we feel the pressure, when we feel that intensity, remember that the Lord is above the floodwaters. He stands strong above the waters. And it's important for us to resist the pressures of the world, to resist the things that we feel we have to do before we come and sit before God. It's putting him first in our lives. And sometimes it's a fight. It's a massive fight to do that. Because we tend to think sometimes that, well, if we get this done, that done, and the other done, then we can sit down with a clear conscience and we can talk to the Lord. But he says the opposite. He says to Martha, put down your pots and pans. Put down all the things that you feel you have to do before you get to me, and come to me first. And I speak completely to myself this morning because that's basically how I've been feeling. So I'm just sharing with you today my honest feelings and thoughts, and laying aside the things that have to be done. I've got pressures, you've got pressures, we all have them. We all have things that are pressing on our lives. The Lord is also pressing upon us. He puts a sort of a pressure on us at times and allows things to come into our lives that he wants us to be shaped by. But it's the shape he wants to create that's important, and it's his shape. It's becoming imitators of him. And it's not getting any easier. So this morning, let's remember that he is high above the waters, and that the waters may prevail here for a time, but he will guide us through. And there's coming a time on the earth when there'll be no more prevailing waters. There'll be joy, there'll be peace, there'll be no more mourning, no more tears. And that day is coming, so let's look forward to that in his strength. Have a blessed day.